There.
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك صدق الله العظيم. I was mentioning to you the importance of reading the Quran with the understanding. So I'm not an alim to begin with. To my understanding, what this surah entails, we read this every day, in and day out, in our salah. So I want you guys to understand what exactly this means. When you are reading the surah, like I was saying yesterday about Surah Fatiha, people read Surah Fatiha in numerous times, but they fail to understand what exactly it contains and what exactly the wording mean. So my focus during this Ramadan for you, particularly Saad and Abdullah, is to understand the Quranic words, the meaning of those words. I'm not a mufassir, I'm not an alim, but to my understanding what I heard and what I read from the tafsir, I'm trying to present in this brief time. This surah is a Makki surah. So the background of this surah is, remember, always there is a background to every single verse in the Quran. This background, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this surah in Mecca when Prophet Muhammad was in extremely dire and difficult circumstances. He was cornered, he was boycotted socially, he was economically boycotted. His and his close Sahaba, they were in a very difficult situation. Some of his Sahaba were dragged onto the sand in very hot environment. Some of the Sahaba were pressured to go back to the deen of their forefathers. And even Prophet Muhammad was given a hard time. Under that circumstances, this surah was revealed. And this surah, Nashra, is a total life story of Prophet Muhammad So I will read the translation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alam nashra laka sadrak. He is questioning to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Have we not opened your breast for you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? This means when he was ummi, he was in a cave pondering about who my Rabb is, and Jibreel alayhi salam came and he said, Iqra, read. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I cannot read. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding him that you were ummi, meaning illiterate, and didn't I open the heart of you towards knowledge? And then وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ, and removed from you your burden. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this situation in Makkah where he was cornered. The verses which I want everybody to pay attention, I'm going to come. Those are very, very important verses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, goes back, he says, Allazi anqadha dhahrak, which weighed down your back. Didn't I relieve your burden? You were pondering upon what is my deen, who is my Rabb. You were having so much pressure and weight upon yourself, thinking about what my people are doing and where this dunya is going, where my people are worshipping and what they are worshipping. Didn't I relieve your burden and scale down your burden? And he goes on to say, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ, and have we not raised high your fame? So this ayah, whenever the Sirat of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is discussed, you should remember this ayah, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in that difficult situation that I will raise you, and I will raise your name, and I will raise your fame until the day of judgment. And now you can experience. As soon as somebody say Prophet Muhammad, we say sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We praise and we send salam to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Until the day of judgment, one moment when he listens to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he automatically says sallallahu alaihi wasallam and sends salam. That's the fame Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got. So imagine in that difficult situation where Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was cornered, he was not having anything to eat, economically boycotted, socially boycotted, just for saying Kunu la ilaha illallah tuflihun, he was pressurized, he was tortured. At that time, Allah is revealing this ayah. And if imagine the companions' state of mind, they would have thought, we are struggling here, we are in a very dire situation here, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that you will be raised, your fame will be raised, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ, your zikr will be raised, so much so that people will remember. And this is being revealed to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that crucial time. And then this is the ayah which is my favorite ayah. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Verily, along with every hardship is relief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is soothing Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Don't get depressed. Don't get taken aback. I know the kuffar, the mushrikeen, is trying to sway you away from your path of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. But you be steadfast, because what you are experiencing, this hardship, comes along with relief. And the people have seen after this period of Mecca, and when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Medina, and then he came back triumphant to Mecca, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him relief. So this whole surah, when you are reading in the salah, I want you to focus on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's period and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has raised his zikr, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him ease by saying فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا, and then again he emphasizes إِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Verily, along with every hardship is relief. That is, there is one hardship with two reliefs, so one hardship cannot overcome two reliefs. The idea here is, he emphasized that definitely you will see that you will get relief, you will be made king, and you will be made so much famous that generations after generations after generations will praise you. Imagine 1450 plus years gone by when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Mecca and Medina. Even now we have love towards our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than our parents, and we say sallallahu alaihi wasallam whenever Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's name gets uttered. So this is the fame which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his beloved messenger, the last and mighty messenger. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. When you have finished your occupation, devote yourselves to Allah's worship. What does that mean? That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Mecca, look, now of course you're having a hard time to convince people towards La ilaha illallah, the message which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entrusted you. But look, after every hardship there will be ease. Look, after every hardship there will be ease. When you get into a easier position, when you scale to the triumphant position, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do? فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. You, when you are farigh and when you are triumphant, then turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Devote yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's worship. So what are the key terms you have to know. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. That means every hardship will bring relief. إِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Definitely every hardship brings you relief. And then فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. When that ease comes in your life, do not turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but worship, devote yourself back to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah, who is the one who does give you the easiness after hardship. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again says, when you attain that position, وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَب. What do? You turn yourself towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And turn when you get ease, when you get famous, when you get higher positions, then you turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it is Allah who has given you this relief. So this surah, whenever you read after Surah Fatiha in the Salah, I want you to remember what it exactly means. Our job in Ramadan is to try to understand the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to dissect and figure out what message we can get from this surah. The number one message we got is the life story of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this surah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, even though you are in the hard times right now, but I will make you famous. And indeed he did. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most famous personality the earth ever witnessed until the day of judgment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made true this ayah when he says, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. In every nook and corner, when you go to Hajj, people come in from different parts of the world. And when they read the Salah, they are doing the durood and salam to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When they visit Medina, they say salam to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that indicates how true our religion is. And also, this surah tells us that definitely as a human, you will experience hardships. When you experience hardships, be patient and try to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and try to remember that definitely after every hardship will be relief. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. إِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. And when that hardships goes away, it is our tendency, whenever there is a hardship, we turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we ask, oh Allah, please forgive me. Oh Allah, please take out our calamity on us. Please take out so and so difficulty on us. But when ease comes, there is a tendency of human being to forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who does that. So the lesson in this surah is فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. إِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. When you are done with all these calamities and when easiness and hardships goes away, then turn yourself to the worship of Allah. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَب. Turn, run, and ruju yourself to the Rabb. That's the lesson Surah Nashra says. So from now on, we have done Surah Fatiha. We know that we have to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say dua. Irrespective of the fawaid of Surah Fatiha, the meaning, the literal meaning has to be in your mind when you are reading the Salah. What exactly you are uttering. We are not Arabs, so we have to understand what that particular word means. We have in detail discussed about Surah Fatiha. Now about Surah Nashra. Remember, whenever you are reading Surah Nashra, you remember those words grossly. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا, difficulty, relief. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ, the Prophet ﷺ was raised to a famous position by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَب, ruju yourself, turn yourself to your Lord who is doing all this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us turn towards our Allah and make us go into the Jannah, make us understand the Quran and make us implement the Quran in our lives. Sadaqallahu al-Azim.